Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start off just by thanking the members of the selection committee for honoring me in the way they have tonight with inducting me into the Hall of Fame. It's a huge privilege and one I'll always cherish. At the same time, I'd also like to recognize all my friends and teammates that have made the trip here to Lexington to be a part of tonight. Their presence means a lot to me. I think people have come from a lot of different places: New Orleans, Memphis, Louisville, Baltimore, etc. And the fact that there's such a good turnout just shows the depth of the friendships that are built here at W&L on sports teams, in other organizations, fraternities, and just in the broader community. So I'm thrilled that they're here, and I do want to thank them. I'm also excited to be joined here by my daughter, Claire. Claire, can you give everybody a wave? Claire's a senior at Ponte Vedra High School in Jacksonville, Florida, and she's right now in the process of trying to figure out where she's going to spend the next 4 years of her life. I'm happy to say W&L is a strong contender, but wherever she winds up, she'll do great. She didn't get the swimming bug. She fell in love with tennis instead, and has had a great tennis career, both individually with USTA tournaments as well as playing for her school. I'm happy to let everybody know the last 2 years she led her school to their first appearances in the Florida High School State Championships, notching a bunch of critical wins in postseason. So I was very happy to see that. So right now she's saying to herself, "Isn't this speech supposed to be about you, not me?" So in the spring, I was notified by Jan that I was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Since then, I've spent a good bit of time thinking about my athletic career here at W&L and the role it's played in my life and how it's helped me, sort of become the person I've become. I've been incredibly fortunate in my professional career. In 2006, along with several colleagues, I started a company called Align Networks that over the next decade became one of the most successful healthcare startups in the United States. I'm particularly proud of the fact that we were named the #1 employer to work for in Jacksonville, Florida, the last 2 years that we own the company. In my mind, there's clearly a relationship between the foundation that was built for me here at W&L and some of the success that I was able to have at this company. You've heard several quotes about work ethic. I can tell you in my professional career, I outworked my peers when I was at larger companies, and I outworked my competition when I was running Align Networks. Clearly, that foundation was built here at W&L. At my company, we were able to build a fantastic culture where all of our employees felt valued, worked hard, were able to be successful, and shared in that success. I think having that kind of approach to working with people was something that was also, the foundation was built here at Washington and Lee. Finally, my co-founders and some other members of the senior team were all former athletes or people that had that kind of mindset and that kind of character. We were able to work very closely together for almost a decade in building the company. We took advantage of each other's strengths, and we covered for each other's weaknesses. And when we had success, we were able to celebrate, and that success motivated us to do more and go further. When we encountered setbacks, we were able to go back to the office and regroup and figure out what we needed to do differently and draw motivation from that as well. And we demanded the best of each other every day. If that sounds familiar, that's because that's what successful sports teams do all the time. And so, once again, I can just see a clear line between my time at W&L and our ability to be successful. I think we're all accustomed to thinking of swimming as an individual sport. It's you versus the pool, and you succeed or fail based on your own merits and putting up a good time. I think there are a few notable exceptions that should be mentioned here. The first is, I think on about half of my All-American recognitions, it was as part of a relay as opposed to an individual event. Obviously, if you're on a relay, it takes 4 to make it happen, and if everybody's not firing on all cylinders, you won't be successful. So I certainly owe a lot to the members of those relay teams. I'll name a couple of them here. I'm not sure I'm getting all of them, but a few of them are seated over here. Folks like Sean Copeland, Jeff Burkaw, Dave Reevy, Dave Dietz, Marty Radvani, Simon Perez, and Adam Morgan. As I said, I probably missed a couple of them, but my apologies. Many of those teammates were also individual All-Americans and played a key role in us winning conference championships and finishing high at Division III Nationals. The second area where I felt teammates had a profound impact is just in providing mutual support and camaraderie as we battled through the training to prepare ourselves for our year-end championships. Swimming can be a grueling and mentally challenging sport. As I think back now to some of the practices and some of the things that we had to go through to be successful, I'm amazed that I was able to do it, and I'm amazed that we all were. I have a niece that's a very competitive swimmer today, and as I hear her talk about her training, it brings back memories, and I'm just astounded at what people do to compete at that level. Success in swimming is driven much more by the training you put through during the year as opposed to some magical performance that happens in your final championship. When you get to the day of that championship, in my view, you pretty much are who you are. And so, your ability to train and prepare for that is what makes you successful. I remember many days during intense training where I was so tired I could barely get out of bed. I remember days where when you first hit the water, every muscle in your body is telling you what a terrible idea that is. Your ability to power through that and keep training and be successful is really helped by having a tight-knit, fun, and equally motivated group of people that you're training with. So I certainly owe a lot of thanks to my teammates that helped me during that whole period. So that's all I had. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and go Generals.